Good evening and welcome to this video on the future of 3v3. My name is Mike Melvin. I'm the founder of 3v3 UK. I've been doing this now for 9 years and thought I'd do this video with 3v3. The year of 2026 is going to be the year 3v3 becomes a format for all under 7s in England. So we've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of people asking us what's going to happen, how's this going to work, etc., etc. So I thought I'd do a video, try and help people out, and also just be a bit of a resource for anyone then who's got any questions, because we've had lots of questions already, and we'll try and answer most of them today. And then other bits that I've seen as well as we've been doing this for so long. So 3v3 UK, I started 3v3 9 years ago now. And the reason I started it was I was just a dad coach at the time, and it was just the best thing I thought for my players. So at the time, we were running a futsal league and then decided to turn it into a 3v3 league from that. And then straight away, we just seen that the benefits for the players, and they just loved it. So we continued it, it grew. And then 3v3 UK was born when we teamed up with Bazooka Goal and the air pitches. That was 6 years ago now. And yeah, we now work with Premier League, FA, loads of county FAs, different leagues and clubs around the country, work all the way around the world with our license program in 3v3 World, do stuff this year then with the World Cup. The picture behind me is from a Premier League event. So lots of stuff we do around the country and around the world already. So when I say I've probably done more 3v3 than anyone, it's probably true, yeah. For 9 years now, this has been my sole focus, my full-time job, and I say it started off as my love, and I still love it to this day because of what it gives for the players. So a few years ago, we were asked by the FA to consult, and they weren't just us, they asked other people as well who've been involved in 3v3 for years on this introduction to 3v3. And that wasn't the starting point that they want to do 3v3. They tested 2v2s, 4v4s, big goals, little goals, different size pitches and so on. And in total, I think they did about 400 games that they analysed, both boys and girls around the country. And I know because we would at a lot of these events because we supplied the equipment. So we went to them. So I've seen these events and that went on. And then when was it? February, March last year, they announced that as of 26-27 season, all under 7s will play 3v3. Now, to get to that point, I say they did, do all this analysis. They spoke to other countries who already implement 3v3, and I said they spoke to us and other people, and we knew the data would prove that 3v3 would be the better option on what they were looking for. And there was a few data points they were looking at. The main two then was physical activity, obviously involved in the game, how much they were moving around, and time and touches on the ball. And again, we just knew 3v3 just covered everything, what they needed to do for that. Okay, so once they announced it, they've then put out then obviously what's going to happen, and they've been a bit slow, and I think that's been part of the problem. And then FA get a lot of grief, but I think they've done some great work in this area, and I know they want to get this right for everyone. So there's 20 leagues at the moment that have been trialing 3v3 and in different scenarios. So some are home and away, some are central venue, some are boys, some are girls, and so on. Some have limited spaces, some don't. So there's different ways that they're trying it now, and they're trying to put this package together that would suit everyone based on their needs of their local league or their local club. They don't want this to be, this is the only way it has to be done. They want to make it flexible. And that's probably part of the problem now, I reckon. Maybe why they've not given out so much guidance is because there is still this flexible work then that's going on. They have said March is going to be the next update. So we'll see. I know all leagues were given information in November. So it's been out there for a while. There's still a lot of questions from leagues. I totally understand that. So yeah, we're still waiting to see on some points. But in general, the crux of it has been put together already. And it's definitely going to happen. Some people say, oh, they might postpone it. It won't be postponed. It'll definitely happen, in my opinion. So that's what's happened in the past. And obviously, I wasn't involved in grassroots at the time, but somebody who's watching this might have been, when they introduced 5v5, brought in mini soccer, as it called back then, there was uproar. That's not proper football. How are we going to get all the venues from? Where the space, the referees, all the questions that we're getting now. This was, back in the day, I'd say before my time. I think it was 2012, off the top of my head. So when it was introduced, then there was actually, and then the stories I've heard, people demonstrated, down to the FA headquarters, saying, this is not real football. They don't want to include it. You look now and go, no one would ever say that 5v5 for under 7s and under 8s is not, let's say, a great thing for them to do. You wouldn't want them playing. Some were playing 7v7, but back in my day, it was 11v11 or nothing. That was the only game that you played. So, for all the benefits of the smaller game, 3v3 is what they want to take that next step on how we can make what we're doing now even better. So it's not saying what's working now is wrong. It's just like, can we improve it? The FA, probably one of the richest FAs in the world, got resources. It's like, yeah, let's see how can we make, England, we're still not won, but we've done a lot better over the past few years. And you look at that back, then kids, your Phil Fodens, your Palmers, your Bellinghams, they all started through the system when this new 5v5 then started, and obviously with all the stuff with the academy. So we've had a rich history. We've still not got that ultimate prize, but obviously got better. Women have done it, two championships now they've won, and you see the improvement in the women's game. So the FA just want to keep on going. So people will slag them off. I think they've done, a great job when sometimes hand the time behind the back. They're limited, but yeah, compared to other countries as well. So I do lucky I get to work in other countries and seeing what our FA do to the other FAs. Like I say, we are way ahead of the game. So back to 3v3. So yeah, 26, 27. So from September or from summer leagues, and that might start a bit earlier. This is when it's all going to kick in. Now, the FA have put out guidance, and on this video, I'll link the links to this guidance that they've already put out. Now, again, I know bits have changed already in the past few months. Some might change already before it starts, but this is like their hub where they're going to put everything. So it's there for everyone to see. They've done road shows. Every single county FA around the country got a road show back. It was last summertime. Explain to people what's going on, etc. When it's going to all happen. That's all done to the leagues meetings then in November. So all leagues have been told what's happening. So information's out there already. And then they've said March is the next one. So for leagues, for clubs, for teams, obviously there's going to be some big changes. So what's going to happen? So obviously the game's going to be 3v3. Yeah, 3 players versus 3 players, no goalies, on a pitch space between 15 by 10 meters and 20 by 15 meters. So slight variations on width and length, then that's allowed. They've gone with 1 goal, which is the 120 by 75. And I'm going to say bazooka goal in all of this just because that's what we've used. So, but there is 1 or 2 other goals that are the same side out there. But we'll just use bazooka goal for when I speak. For our sponsor, maybe we'll get them in now. Bazooka goal, there they are. And yet they are the best ones on the market for what it's going to be. But this is not a promo for us and for anything. So they put out that, and then a couple of other things that they put out is one, they want it to be with no subs. Now I get the reasoning behind that. So depending on what part of football you're involved in, you'll see that different level abilities. And sometimes you get put in this little small bubble where you'll only see and only play the best teams in your area, and that's all you'll see. All right. Or you might be in the other bubble where it's just the lower level teams in your area. Yeah. Lower ability teams, brand new teams, etc. Might be in an area where, to get a game, you've got to go and travel an hour. Yeah. Depending on the ability of your players. So there's around the country, it's so different. And again, just the work we've done, I've seen this happening. We go to a place in the South Midlands, and we don't do under 7s in our tournaments. And go like, why don't we do them? It's like, oh, we don't start football around here till under 8s. And it's like, oh right, that's a bit of a shock, but that's just how it is in that area. So any under 7s you want to play, there's not really any teams from a playing. They've got to travel a fair distance to do so. So the whole makeup of the country is different. Obviously, we have this guidance, etc. But it really does vary. The big cities is generally easier, where you've got bigger central venue leagues, bigger clubs, facilities, closer to everyone. So you don't have that problem. But you go to back end of Devon, and just to play your local team, you've got to travel an hour. So it does vary, and this is try and fit for everyone. So 3v3, yeah, I say it's going to be how teams are going to be, the format they're going to play. They want no subs, okay, is one of the things that they've put, and this is to keep kids active. Now, again, just what I was saying there about these places all over the country now, it's all different. You've got some teams, and they'll have 10 players, 12 players in a 5-a-side team, all right, and they'll play one game for 30, 40 minutes. Then when you work out, like, even if it was all equal, now I'm not going to get into equal game time and stuff on here, that's another subject, but even if it was all equal, them players, they're going to get like 15 minutes, if that, in some cases. And that's if it's equal. There's some players, you see they're getting 5-10 minutes on the pitch. You then work out how much time they're getting on the ball. It's less than a minute in some cases. So it takes them longer to put the boots on than they actually are playing. So a great idea of having no subs. To implement that might be a bit harder, but having an idea of having no subs is great. Now, again, it's generally the lower level kids, yeah, and then who get less game time because they're not ready enough to play for a full match, or not fit enough to play for a full match, or they destroy the team when they come on. So we'll just give them a few minutes here and there. Whatever reason that they don't play enough now, they're never going to get better. They're always going to have that ceiling because they're only ever going to get 5-10 minutes game a week. So it doesn't matter how potentially good they could be. We're just capping them. Yeah. So having no subs is a big plus for me. Implementing that again is different because, again, when the FA put it out, it was like, oh, the average team has 9 players. So it was great then working out all these numbers on 3 lots of free, playing the games. So it all looked nice and easy. And I've run leagues in the past and run teams and clubs, so I know that's not always the case. I've seen when I had a team, I think we had 6 in one team, so we only ever had 1 sub. I've seen teams rock up, say, with 10 on match day. So literally at half time, the complete team changes, and then you're swapping keepers as well, and so on. So it does vary completely, say throughout the spectrum of grassroots. So that would be a potential issue, but I've got a couple of ideas that we've come up with. Not just us, other people have had these ideas as well. A lot of this stuff, let's say, we've been there and done it, so we know how to deal with, like, not having subs. I do a weekly session where we don't have any subs play, so we just have to work out the numbers properly. Then other questions then that we get is we're going to need more space. All right, now that is a total myth, yeah, completely. Unless, well, okay, maybe not a myth, unless you will not allow any other format to be played on your 11-a-side pitch or 5-a-side pitch, and that's the rule. Which I get it for some top pitches, yeah. They don't let anyone else play, so it's not 5, it's not 3v3, it's not, they won't let 5v5 or 7v7 play. But if you've got a 5v5 pitch now, that can easily be changed into 3v3, and you can actually fit more 3v3 pitches in an area than a 5-a-side pitch. So the picture behind me is an event that we did for the Premier League. On this pitch here, I'll be ducking and diving like I'm boxing here, but there's actually 22 air pitches. Now, this is not about air pitches, but the space of an air pitch is 15 metres by 10. So that's how many pitches you can fit on an 11-a-side pitch. And you see there, we're not using the penalty area at the top. We don't use the centre circle, and there's all space around, and we're not using the penalty area at the bottom. So if we did it maxed out, we could actually fit 30 pitches, which is 180 players. Right? Now, even if you had small 5-a-side pitches and you fit 8 of them on an 11-a-side pitch, I know a lot of especially the new, like the ones that you've had Football Foundation grants on, they'll generally be set up as 4 5-a-side pitches. That's on an 11-a-side pitch. So you've gone from 40 players, or let's say if you squeeze them in and have smaller pitches, you'll have 80 players. Using that exact same space now, you're getting 180 players. So it's not even close. So the idea of needing more space, let's say, is totally out of the question. Really easy. On a standard 5v5 pitch, you can fit 4 3v3 pitches. So if you only got one 5v5 pitch that are in 10 players, you've now got 24. What that can do for your club, for more players, for this no subs, this is what opens up then the answers then to some of these questions. So more space, let's say, is done. More coaches. Now the FA went right from the start. They said they don't want to interrupt what clubs do already. So if you're under 7s, when they start off training, get put into groups of 9 as they wanted to, or 8 or 10, or whatever your club decides. That's going to still be the same. That's still going to be your match day squad. Right? All that's going to happen on that day, on the match day, is just split into 1, 2, or 3 teams. Okay, so the numbers will stay the same. So you don't need more coaches than you do now, because the coach and assistant coach generally is what happens. That will still, be the same for the same amount of players. So more coaches again is just a myth, and that's needed. You do what your club, would normally do for squad sizes, and then that same happens then on match day. More equipment. Now that is one thing it will need. No one has 22 air pitches, 44 goals will just lying around, in their club or league. So air pitches are not in this conversation. It's just going to be goals, lines, and cones. So obviously you mark it out with cones, flat markers. Some pitches, grass pitches, will actually mark out, with the white lines, the 3v3 areas. I don't think a lot will, because a pitch then will just have a million lines on, in my opinion. So I reckon it'll just be best then with using flat markers. But you are going to need more goals. Now, I said we use bazooka goals, and I know, which again, we've been part of this conversation, that there will be Football Foundation grants available. So the cost then of buying this extra equipment, is not going to be borne solely then by the clubs and leagues. And again, talking about clubs, generally, if you're under 7s, you'll have some small sets of mini goals, anyway, that you'd use. So you might have them already, or it might be part of what you give every new team. So buying mini goals, bazooka goals sell thousands of them every year. So I do know, say that clubs are buying them already. Leagues are slightly different. They obviously, would have to look, if they're a central venue, we'll have to look at investing in a lot of goals, maybe looking at maybe 20, 30. But again, so we've done these projects with all these leagues around the country, where because they were part of this early adopter scheme, they were given the goals for free. I'm not saying everyone's going to get them for free. I doubt that will happen. But, the FA and the Football Foundation and the money that they put into other projects already, I say there's funds there that are going to be allocated to make sure that clubs and leagues can get this extra equipment then that's needed. Other problems and questions that we've had is, if we're not going to have goalies, it's not real football. What about those kids who want to be a goalie? All right. Now, I've got 2 parts to that answer. First, a 6-year-old also wants to be an astronaut, and they want to be a dancer, and they want to be, Superman. So they want to be loads of things that, at that age. So, yes, saying that kids want to be a goalie. I looked at something, and just madly enough the other day, not one of the current potential England keepers, so I think it was 5 or 6, then that were in there, potentially looking, for who's going to be picked in the World Cup. It was 5 or 6 or so, the best English keepers. Not one of them was a goalie or an academy when they were under 7. So they didn't start, they would have started as an outfield player. So if we're looking at these best players, best goalies in the world, none of them started. Your players who come from Brazil, your Edisons, all these started as outfield players. So it's rare you get 6-year-olds only wanting to be a goalie. All right. I do know that there is some. I've had one myself over the years, and he only wanted to play net. But then he also was great outfield. So at training, he'd play outfield and he'd do that. On match days, he'd just go in. He only wanted to go in net in one of the teams. But for goalies then, okay, so there's going to be no goalie with 3v3. So it's either everyone's an outfield player, yeah, or if they 100% only want to be a goalie, well, I think there's two options. They can either go and play a year up on one of the days. So if under sevens play Saturday, they'll play 3v3 then, and under eights play Sunday, go and play 5v5 then. Easy option then to do, yeah, or rotate or whatever you want to do. But you can go play a year up if you only want to be a keeper, right? Only want to be a keeper though. Again, got to be dedicated. I'm not going to go into that of the mindset of a goalie. Bit mad, most of them aren't they? So, especially the ones I know. If a kid only wants to do goalie training, being a goalie, they're probably better just going training. You know, where they're going to have 50 shots taken against them rather than 5 or 10 potentially in a match. So, if that's all they want to do, there's 100%. There's plenty of goalkeeping coaching companies out there that can do that extra training, and then they can go and play a year up. And also, it's just a year. They are going to develop, and this is not just about developing individual positional skills. This is about building that love of the game. Right? And all goalies have got to play with the feet, so why not use that as a starting block? So it's probably one thing where some can go, oh yeah. He's no good for goalies. Yeah, it's not. But at 6 years old, I say, as kids want to be an astronaut. We don't tell them that they can't be an astronaut when they grow up, do we? So they can still be a goalie when they grow older. Just for now, yeah, they're going to be an outfield player. What else have we got? Not real football. Now, this is something that I get from some people. I'm not going to call them some names that are extinct, but football's evolved. You know what I mean? And again, this is my opinion, but not just my opinion. I built my opinion from listening to experts. I'm lucky enough from when I started, I got introduced to some good coaches at my local pro club. I got introduced to some good coaches at the National FA. And I listened, and some good other grassroots coaches as well. And I listened and learned, and this was all part of my football, DNA. Then almost was built from listening to these other people. I put a post out on Facebook a week ago, and it was about under 12s, new girls starting to play football. And I said 3v3 was the best option for them. On Facebook, I got grief, of people in the grassroots community. I put the same post on LinkedIn, and every single coach agreed with me. Because generally on there is where they have more connections with academy and FA coaches. So the two different groups had varied opinions. There was plenty of grassroots coaches that agree with me as well. But let's say that on there is where I got people saying, we're ruining football. The 3v3 is no good. Now, to most of them, I've said, come and try it. Yeah. If you've not tried it, you won't know. This was same, and again, the feedback that I've heard from some of these leagues who are doing this early adopter scheme is the first week or two was a bit chaotic. People didn't really know what was going on, whether that was just facility-wise, pitch-wise, and so on. But once they got into it, right, and the kids understood it as well, and the parents understood it, big part is educating parents on this. Once people understood what was going on, they all loved it. Yeah. So the feedback, that we've had more recent, and now they've done it for weeks, has been great. 100% about development of players. And if that's our core focus, is developing better players, then all these other problems we'll find a solution to. Yeah. Because if that's whether we want to build the best England team, or we just want to build a love of the game, right? 3v3, it does that then. Because as a kid, and again, you'll have your own individual stories from yourself as a player, or as being a coach or a parent. And kids who aren't involved in the game at a young age, not going to develop that lifelong love for it. Yeah, not going to become the coaches of the future, not going to become, the best players. Some of these players, and there will be one that, don't start football and don't like football because they're not involved at 7 or 8, and then boom, they blossom. By the time they're 12, they then get into the academy system, then get into England system. Before you know it, they're playing in the Premier League, they're playing for England, and they're scoring winning goals in the World Cup. Maybe just a dream, but that kind of stuff will happen. And it has happened now already. There's plenty of players who didn't start playing football till a little later on because they only played street football. Joe Cole is a prime example, one top of my head, that I know didn't play for a team till he was 10. Just played on the streets, And that's part of like what 3v3, is about, and it's just letting kids just go and develop. This is not making the best 18-year-old. This is helping 6 and 7-year-olds develop to be better players, yeah, and to love that game. Right? And this is proven that will happen. Mhm. So that's what 3v3 is all about. And I've been there and done it. I can tell umpteen stories of individual players, and at that level where they'll be playing in a normal grassroots team now, but they'll come to one of our weekly sessions, and the parents and the kids, and sometimes, but generally the parents will say this is their favourite session of the week because they're involved in the game, they're scoring goals, they're trying tricks and they're trying flicks and they're trying things out that they watch their superstar heroes play, and he doesn't get to do that in a normal game. But here he gets to try it because of that constant repetition and involvement, in the game. Right. On the flip side, we have plenty of academy players, who are classed as the best kids in the country, who come and play with us because of that intensity and that speed of thought that they need to work on and improve on. That first touch, that using the other foot, that beating players 1v1, that transition in and out of possession, all the things that they need to practice. We do that in abundance then at 3v3. All right. So it gives everything what people need. And as long as you get the levels right, yeah, and it's again, that's an easier win in 3v3, is getting the levels right. There's some top leagues around the country who get the levels right with teams. So, you've not got a team getting battered to 10-0. It still happens in some areas and in some leagues, but there's some real good leagues and that get these ability levels right. Even within those teams, though, there's dominant kids and less dominant kids. Okay. But because the overall team gets this big score, there might be one superstar kid, yeah, who's absolutely tearing it up and scores 6-7 goals every single week because they're just a beast at that age group and can do that to everyone. So that all the rest of the team get dragged up. Some of them teams might not touch the ball at all, really. Some of them players, sorry, might not touch the ball. So by having 3v3, you can split the abilities out even smaller. So these top players can go and play on their own if that's what you want to do. Yeah. There's other benefits then of those players mixing it up then with players of lower ability. All right. Benefits for both teams. But if they only did that same thing every week, that would probably, get boring and stale. Whereas one game, might be against the other best kids. One game might be with your two best mates who not really good at football as you, but you love playing with them. Yeah. But if you play with them all the time, they'll drag you down, or you might drag them up. Yeah, and this is hopefully what happen. They'll drag them up as well. But in the way this format is going to work, is they're not going to be playing. I don't have to be playing the same teams and the same same teammates every single game. If you're going to have this squad of 9 or 10 or 12, whatever it might be, the permutations and how many players can play with each other is a lot. That they probably won't have to do any of the games in the day with the same teammates. So it gives you so many more options as a coach. And this is where coaches can, get creative and better. And I get it. There will be some days I'm going to put my best kids together, today. Yeah, we're playing the other best team. Yeah, rightly or wrongly, I'm not going to go into that argument. But, you want to see your best team, their best team, the best ones. We do it. We have tournaments. So, yeah, we know that's what people want to do. Right. But then you also want to make it fair for your lower ability players, right, who on a 5v5 pitch might not touch the ball, as often as the better players. So on a 3v3 against 3 other lower ability 3v3 players, how much better they're going to become. So as a coach, you can give every single kid, that brilliant opportunity to go and play, to go and create a memory and a moment on that day. Kids go home when they go, again, rightly or wrongly, they get asked, did you score? Did you win? They're forgetting they'll win because there's that many goals that we scored in 3v3. They'll forget, or they'll all say that they've won because they might have won one of the 3 or 4 games. But they'll all create that moment. They'll all have that goal. Again, stories we've got. I remember once, it was back a few years back now, Parent come up to me at the end of a tournament and said to me, Mike, thanks. I was like, oh, you know, thinking they just enjoyed the day, as most do. I said, my daughter scored her first ever goal today. And I was like, brilliant. You know, we were celebrating and really proud of her. And she'd been playing football for 6 months already. Right? And it's like, it was a great moment for us being part of that, great moment for them. But it's like, is that how bad? What had she been doing 6 months for the team? But she's not had this moment. I know scoring goals is not the only thing in football. But if you've never had that moment, you know what I mean? How bad, you know, must your, not your life be, but it's, you don't just get, you know, these highs and these dopamine hits that you get from scoring goals. If you've not had that, and you'll get it in 3v3, let's say the just goals are in abundance. We have problems now with referees who forget how many goals are scored because there's that many. Our average game, I say we've done this for years now, our average goals per game is 12. 12 goals in an 8-minute game we do. So it just shows you, say, how many goals are scored. So again, I always ask at the end of our tournaments, who scored a goal today? And every single kid, you know, puts their hand up. I don't think I've ever had a day where we've not had a player, you know, score a goal. So that having this rotation of players is really going to help kids love the game. And if they love the game, guess what? They're going to come to training, want to work a little bit harder, want to learn a bit more, and then we'll make them better for the weekend after. So you'll see it hands down. Like I say, I've seen it too many times over the years for it not to work. I do remember that when we first started, there was a couple of players who didn't like 3v3, and it baffled me because of all the numbers that did, and there was a few that didn't. So we asked them, asked the parents, and yeah, all right, you know, what was the problem? And they didn't know really themselves, but then they come back and they said, because it was so hard in terms of physical activity, they didn't know how to deal with that emotional side, yeah, of them getting like really flustered, you know, from being too sweaty, and they didn't understand like what the emotion was going through, and that was the reason that they didn't like it. And then there was another couple who got used to it, but again, it took them a while. Because at first, in a 5v5 game, they would just be all about power and pace, right? And would just bully other kids on the pitch. And in 3v3, that trait doesn't stand out as much because there's not enough space to run into. So there's still a bit of space, and you can still use that power and speed. But what they were good at, yeah, almost got found out a bit at 3v3. So they had to like adapt the game and learn how to, you know, be better on the ball rather than just, you know, kick and chase. So again, they learn over time and got better. But to start off with, for some, that was a struggle. But at 6 and 7 years old, when we want to create these better technical players, now again, I'm going off script here, but some people think 3v3 makes players greedy. All right, and I'm not going to say it does. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It makes players more confident, all right, to be on the ball. And if that means they're now willing to try and beat a player a bit more, then okay, you might call that greedy. As I say, it's just being more confident. So because of that repetition of times and moments in there, they'll be in that 1v1 situation and in 3v3 compared to 5v5 or 7v7. Yeah, is the player then will just be more confident to go and try and beat someone. Now, again, that might not work all the time and they'll lose it. And at 3v3, sometimes you lose the ball, especially if you lose it in your own half. Generally, you know, you can see in the shot, and if not, then a goal as well. So I've seen plenty and hundreds, thousands probably, of like goals that have been scored from players like losing the ball by not beating their man. I go back to an interview with Ryan Giggs, and it was about a year ago now, and he said, obviously, you know, one of the best players this country's ever seen. He was told, yeah, if he didn't beat his man 9 times, still keep on doing it because the 10th time you will. You know, and how successful is he? So don't even need to go into that. So learning and failing is a big part. Again, especially when we say, and they're only 6 and 7 years old. So this is a big part of their game. So it will happen. And all you do then is just, encourage them to do it again, and hopefully they get better at it and better at it. And then as soon as they do it, you're over the moon because you go, I've let them have that moment where they can now, trust themselves to go and do it. Yeah. And the feeling you get by doing that as a coach is far better than them from day one going, just pass that ball. Don't even try that, pass that ball. So on the coaching side, everyone's different. They have their own philosophy and own ideas and stuff. We've got some stuff we'll do, and I'll come on to that shortly. But yeah, the kids then will absolutely just love being on the ball, scoring goals. Right? And that, if we have that in mind, everything else and that goes around this is quite easily overcomable. Because kids will just, if it's for the better benefit of the players, then we'll do what we need to do then as adults, and that's my opinion. So other questions I've got then is having no referees. So again, you go around different parts of the country, under sevens, some leagues don't have referees anyway. The coach, they do a half each, and that's just how it's been in some places. Like, that's their normal. I know in a lot of places then having no referees just wouldn't work. I remember a league a few years ago tried to do it in Manchester. It was a bit older age group, I think it was under 10s at the time, but they said, coaches between yourselves ref the game. And now in 90% of the times, you'll have two top coaches, they will do it fairly, and they'll do a half each, or you ref your half, I'll ref my half, whichever way you do it. But they'll do it, and they'll be honest and fair, and it'll be right for both teams. Obviously, there's just those few then that will spoil it. And some, don't give you anything. Some go the other way and, give their own team nothing. So, I've seen it myself when it's like, I know you'll be all right. It was a foul, but you'll be all right. Just get up and carry on. So I've seen it the other way as well, but there's always that few then that will spoil it. So the way the FA have set this up is to have pitch facilitators, what they're called. So they're not referees. And generally, this is going to be the coach and the assistant coach taking a pitch each. Now, I've done this for years now, and I can watch over two pitches side by side quite easily. 6 players there on the right, 6 players on the left. Watching them play, like I say, is easy to do. All right, you're fair and you're honest. Yeah, you will miss things 100%. You know what I mean? But in general, you'll see everything going on both pitches. It's literally like you're watching just half of a 5-a-side pitch, so you can easily see that as long as they're situated side by side. So they're going to have these pitch facilitators then that will oversee these pitches. Now, again, they've not had much guidance on this. Again, does it need to do a course? I doubt it, just because it's not a referee's course. Are they going to have to learn the rules? Yeah, probably somehow, somewhere. There's going to have to be something that they're going to have to do. But generally, they're thinking it's going to be the coach and the assistant coach will do pitch 1 and pitch 2. And then the other teams, coach and assistant coach, will do pitch 3 and pitch 4. So over the games that you rotate around, all the players in effect will play on your pitch, because that's the idea. So yeah, no referees in this festival format where no scores are kept. This should work. Now, I know I've done tournaments in London where we need security guards, right? For parents and coaches, for some, this is not just this is like the AFCON final that just happened last night, where crowds are pulling on the pitch, managers pulling players off because they don't agree with decisions. This can be serious stuff. We need a big education part in this country for parents and coaches, where this is kids fun football. If they were going to play out like we did, and we always are back in the day, if they're going to go and play it in their school yard, yeah, or in the park around the corner after school, there wouldn't be an adult referee. The kids just figure out themselves. Right? Now, again, I know there's some kids who won't allow that, and they'll go around and go, I can be a bully here, and I can kick people, and there's no consequences. But yeah, these pitch facilitators are going to be there to call fouls and just make sure that the basic rules are going to be adhered to. So yeah, that's the case. But say over time, and again, in some of the stuff I've done is, you make a captain of each team, and you make it the kid who's, the nice, responsible kid, and you go like, you call the fouls, on the other team, and make a big deal of that. And again, this is all part of how you coach your players and what you do with them. But there's different ways then of making these kids more responsible for their game, rather than it being adult led all the time. We're there to watch, pick the cones up at the end, fetch the balls, and they kick them out. Yeah, let them play, let them decide, what's going to happen. So over time, people get used to this, and then hopefully that will pass on to under 8s and 9s and 10s and so on, and we'll have these better environments in grassroots football. Because there's too many fools in grassroots football at the moment, and that's right the way down, to the bottom end. So leagues then will have an easier way of dealing with this when they've got, pitch venue managers overseeing everything. And again, that's part of it. When you've got multiple pitches on the go, you'll have one person who'll be in charge of overseeing everything, and then you'll have like these pitch facilitators on each pitch, just making sure then that everything's going to plan. Problems I see with that, all right. And again, the reason I got into coaching was because my son wanted to play. So I go, when I started, I go and coach the team, but I'm there really because my son's in the team. If he stopped playing football, I might have carried on, but would I be every weekend, getting up 8 o'clock, going to a game, rushing home from work, going to do a training session? Probably wouldn't have that love if my own kids, out there, and I don't know, it never happened, fortunately, still plays, but I do feel then, like say for some, then that I just coaches, and they're just not directly involved in the team with their kid. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. This was about you watching as a coach your son or daughter then play. Now, so the way this pitch facilitator is going to work, and if you stay on one pitch, your kid might move around the different pitches, and you might only watch one game. I get that might be, you might want to watch. I want to be on the same pitch as my son or daughter every game. Yeah. If that's the case, it's rotating the teams around and so on, making it fair so you're there for everyone. And then I get it. Some coaches, don't mind. I've had plenty of coaches go, I'll referee that game over there. And I say, well, wouldn't you rather do the one where your kids? And it's like, I'm not bothered about that. I'll just go and do another game. So there will be some, and I get that could be an issue where you're not involved in your son or daughter's game because you're reffing another pitch. But over time, let's say that'll rotate round. You can do that, or just get other pitch facilitators in. Get some of the parents in your group. Right, can you do this game, and I'll watch everyone. Or I have a few other volunteers and who'd help out at the venue. So there's different ways this can be done. They're only short games. So if you said to someone, right, again, make every parent do it almost, you're going to give up a 6 to 10 minute slot in this session for you then to go and like manage one of these pitches. All right. Makes everyone involved. Yeah. Might help people, calm down rather than stuck behind the fence and they can shout whatever they want. It's like, oh, actually, I'm on here now. I actually realise how hard it is to be a ref. They're only doing it for 6 to 10 minutes. Then someone else has a turn and you all learn and all are involved, that way. So there's different ways that can work. We'll see in some parts of the country. Yeah, like I say, we have security guards in London on some tournaments. So there'll be some places where there will need to be someone who's in charge of that game that's independent. So we'll see. But all that's going to happen to that then is going to add a big cost onto the cost of your kids playing football. We have referees at our tournaments, because we couldn't do a tournament without it. One, to keep the rules, keep the scores, and even they get it wrong, you know what I mean? So having no referees in some places, we'll see. Yeah, I'm waiting to make my judgment on that once it's all up and running. So I think I've covered off there then, like most of the questions that I've had about why 3v3 won't work. Yeah, not enough space, not enough coaches, not enough equipment, no goalies, no subs, no refs. The other one then is how you're going to split, your team. I'll come on to that then in a second with some of the stuff we're going to do. So I said at the beginning, we've been doing this now for 9 years. So my life, ask my wife, is 3v3. That's all I do, all I talk about, everything, because I love the game. And yeah, it is my business. So we've had people saying, of course, you're going to say that it's your business. When I started this 9 years ago, when there was just a few kids turn up, yeah, and over the years, we've had dips, in numbers and so on. I still love the game. I still kept it going. So this is not something that we jumped on the bandwagon like some do, just because it's coming now. Say this is 9 years ago that we've been doing this for. So I think anyone who has that argument, I like say, I've easily answered it. Say because yeah, this was a passion then for a long time. So this is what we do. So we've got a lot of experience in this. We've got a lot of ideas of what we're going to do, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is as well. Then with this as well, because for me, someone asked me, "What was your goal when we started 3v3?" And then the goal was for every player to try 3v3, not to love it. Yeah, is to try it, right? Because I know once they try it, the vast majority will love it and want to come back. So my job is to get people to try it. Right? There's a reason the Premier League hire us every year. That's an academy football event that says on the picture behind. That's the official under-9 welcome weekend, where when all the new academy kids get signed, all Premier League and Category 1 clubs go to Loughborough for the weekend, and for the past 4 years, and this year included, they play 3v3 as their first official academy game. Right? So it just shows you how much they value what 3v3 is. You go into any academy in the country, they'll have 3v3 as part of their program. 2v2, 1v1s, 4v4s, 5, 6 of the play, all different formats. All right. Probably going off topic here, but when the FA asked my opinion, I didn't say 3v3 was the answer. I said mixed formats was the answer. So you could play 5v5, you could play 3v3. Some weeks you'd turn up and it'd be 2v2, 1v1 as well. All right. So that's what I would personally prefer, is we play different formats throughout the season, because a varied diet of football only breeds and in more intelligent players. There's different scenarios and challenges that comes from playing different formats. So, but the FA have gone, no, it's max 3v3. Again, people go, oh, they're telling us what to do. If you thought 3v3 was good, you could have done it for years, right? The formats that are out there now have always ever been the maximum. So you could play up to 5v5 or up to 9v9. That was always your maximum that we played, because that most adults decided we'll play at the maximum. We did it one year, the league I run. Once they got to under 13, we said, no, we're doing 9v9 only, not going to 11v11. A lot of teams left, all right, because they want to go play 11v11. Within 3-4 months, so by Christmas, a lot of them teams asked could they come back, because the enjoyment of what they got from 9v9 it gone at 11v11. So that jump to men's football, women's football, full adult football, for some players, for a lot of players, 11v11 is not the right answer. Again, going off topic here, they always do when they get down this rabbit hole. But as adults, a lot of us now go and play five-a-side, and it's like, well, why do we do that? Well, it's more fun, it's easier, yeah, it's quicker to do. So all the reasons we go and play 5v5 or 6v6 down in your local centre, rather than going on a weekend and playing, an hour there before the match starts, 2 hour there for your game, then changing, you're out for a 4 hour window. You sub, you're getting on last 5 minutes of the game, you stood there freezing cold, you go, I'm not bothered doing this. I'll just go down on a Wednesday night and play five-a-side with mates. So we do that as adults. You expect kids to want to go and play this 11-a-side. 11-a-side, in my opinion, for most kids at 13 is not the right answer. For them top end, I get it. That is part of their pathway in the programme. They're ready for it. But most kids, I've watched Division 7 11-a-side football and got a sore neck because it was just boom, 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 boot in the air. And if the centre forward got a chance and they just run and smashed it, and that was how the goal was scored. So again, off topic, but this 3v3 introduction also slows down those other age groups. So everyone now is almost pushed back a year. So 5v5 will be at under 8s, under 9s. 7v7 will be at under 10s, under 11s. 9v9, 12s, 13s, and 11 side from 14s onwards. So everything gets pushed back a year. I get, again, those that are going to miss that jump now because their year's been extended. So those who are current under 9, who would normally expect to be got to 9v9 next year, they're going to stay another year at 7v7. I get for some teams that's not the right thing. They should, they're ready to make that jump. But I say for most teams, keeping that smaller farmer, for most kids, the smaller farmer is by far the best thing for them. If they want to then go and play a year up, they can go and do that. All right. And again, that's back to 3v3. I've heard a lot of, not a lot, but I have heard people say, we'll just miss under 7 and we'll just go and play a year up at under 8s, right? And play 5v5. Now, my answer to that, when my kids were under 7, we actually played under 9s because we were that good. Yeah, not bragging, it's not bragging or anything here, but we were played at under 6s, yeah, at under 7s, and at under 7s we played at under 8s, and we were just, the league we were in, we were just too good. So the league actually said, go to under 9s. So at under 7s, we went and played 2 years up. All right. Not going to mention the league because we're not allowed to do that anymore. But that's what we did. And that was the right thing for my players because they were at that top end. I see a lot of teams now and they go and play a year up just because it's easier to have more kids on the pitch rather than having more subs. Now, that's part of this thing with 3v3 is having no subs. So you're going to split out, more and more games. So just going into that then. So if you've got 10 players, obviously that don't make going to 3s. So it's this maximum of 3. So you try and do as many 3v3s as you can. Now, obviously that will work then. If you had 10 and they're 10, it'd be 3 3v3s and 1 1v1, or 2 3v3s and 2 2v2s. Yeah, and the kids will rotate round. So they'll only play one game in this mixed format. Now, it might be you've got 10 and they've got 11. So what do you do then? They say still no subs. So it'll be in one game, there'll be an overload. So it'll be a 2v1 or a 3v2. Yeah, depending on how you want to play it. So that's the idea. I get it at central venues, especially when you've got one big Astro and you've got so many teams, you can't have this extra pitch space. So again, I've got ideas I'll come on to with that. But yeah, having these no subs will keep all these kids active for the full. They've put out 40 minutes, like it's a game time, which is what kids, the maximum that they're allowed to play now. I know some kids who play a lot more than that, but that's up to individuals. But 40 minutes is like a typical under fives. There's under 5 game going on. 5v5, that maximum time that they'll play, 2 20-minute halves, say. So again, I'll put a link to the Future Fit reference on the FA put out, but they've put between 6 and 10-minute games, and obviously not just one game that you play. So you play multiple games. So you'll play up to like maybe 4, 5, 6 games in your rotation. All right, every league will do that different. So I've seen it. Then again, I've worked on some formats already. For leagues, then they're going to have like 16 pitches on the go. It's almost like creating like corners of 4. Yeah, so you've got 4 groups of 4, around each quarter. Makes it simple. So as teams come now, you've got red and blue. Right, well, you're going to be on quarter 1, and you've got 10 players, and you've got 11 players, and you're just going to play each other like that. Dead simple then to organise that farmer. There'll be others then where you'll go, right, we're going to have 10 teams of, up to 100 kids, and that will vary from 8 in one group to 13 in another, and so on. But you'll have a maximum number that you'll allow on site of how many pitches you can do. So you've not got any subs. And then from that, then you'll just work out, 3v3, 2v3, 2v2, 1v2, and so on. Obviously, try and get as many 3v3 games as possible. There'll be some games, and again, depending on how your league or club wants to do this, there'll be some games that go, well, well, you've got an odd number, you've got more than me, so why don't one of your players join my two players to make a free, and they'll play that for this one game. It's not the whole session, yeah, and then each rotation then that you do, that one kid who comes to join the other team can be different, so you can always make a 3v3 rather than having kids like overloaded much, too much on one pitch. So there's plenty of ways and that this can be done. I don't want to keep this on for too long now, but I just want to go over then some of the things that we put together. So if people really want to work on this and make it right for the benefit of our youngest players, that golden age of them falling in love with the game, with the ball, hopefully then, wanting to play for their country in the future, wanting to score goals on their favourite pitch, and so look up to their heroes. 3v3 is definitely gonna help them fall in love with their game, and then be fitter and be more healthier, and that's all the other benefits and that go with it by being active for that full session rather than just a few minutes sub and hardly touching the ball. So there's some things that we've put together. So the first off then is for coaches, okay? And again, some of the people who've been commenting on this have coaches who've been doing it for 30 years. The coach an 11-a-side men's team, and they're commenting on under sevens football. Is like, okay, everyone's got their opinion, but it's not to do with you, Yeah. And there's some then clubs who've got like dedicated coaches who work at that age group, who specialise in under 6, under 7, football, that foundation phase. And they've probably, because of the experience, they've done a lot of this. But a lot of coaches who come into under 7 football is one of the dads off the team who you go, oh, do you fancy running? Say, oh, yeah, I'll give it a go. Like I did years ago. So many do. And they take over the team and it builds from there. And before you know it, yeah, they're doing hours and hours every week and they love it. Yeah, because that's what we do as grassroots coaches. We just fall in love with what we do while we help these kids. And that's why football in this country is so brilliant. But as a new coach, and you go, oh, I've never done 3v3, what do I do? So we're putting together some coaching packs, some dead simple basic ones of, literally first day, rocking up, this is what you do with a brand new bunch of kids. Now, it's not all about 3v3 because there's other parts in there than that you do of like 1v1s and some of the ball mastery stuff and just basic passing stuff. And there's plenty of resources out there already. Not saying we're the only ones who've done this, right? But yeah, just a simple resource pack. Then that coaches can go, right, what the hell am I doing? Yeah, on day one, here we go. Let me end this. So it's aimed at them. We'll have an advanced version then as well, with different games that you can play. Now, our philosophy out, and again, it's come from what I've been taught over my years, and his training is always game related. So they're always with a ball, they're always in a match. They're never, we'll practice something, and then we'll go and do it in a game, then we'll go back and practice something else and do it in a game. So that's how I've done it. There's other coaching philosophies and methodologies out there, but so yeah, we'll put something together that coaches can download, and it's completely free. Don't want to use it, don't use it. So, but it'll be there. We're going to work though with some top coaches that, luckily enough, we've already got on our team. It was experts in 3v3. So we'll put together some more advanced sessions as well, and we'll get external coaches in as well. So external coaches as well, who will put together, certain programs, and we'll put them out. I say there's going to be a load of this, and that's going to be free. Now, down the line, 100% we'll probably put some out that's a paid version, because the people that will pay and be involved in this, we've got to make some money somehow. So I'm not going to say, oh, we're the saviors of 3v3 and we do it all for no. It's our business. Obviously, if we're going to pay people to do these sessions for us, we've got to recover it somehow. But to start off with, a lot of the resources are going to be free. I'd rather be honest, from day one. Hook you in, or come and get this free book, and then boom, you got anything else you've got to go and pay for it. So I would say there will be paid stuff, but there'll be a lot of great free stuff as well. One of the other things we've done was, as I was saying before, this like online fixture generator of how all these different players, you can fit them in. Now it's easy for a game from a league point of view, and I don't know what the FA are doing on this. Yeah, what whole game or the portal and what is gonna work now. But the one I did was you put in how many players you've got and how many players your team's got. So team A 11, team B 9, yeah, and you put in how many pictures you've got. Might be 2, might be 3, might be 4, might be 7. You know what I mean? Unlimited. You can do whatever space you want. And you also put in how much time you've got. So you might have an hour slot, an hour and a half slot, might only have 50, whatever it is. So you put those factors in. So how many players on each team, how many pitches, how much time. That will then work out a generator. Then that will do your fixtures and do the plays where they're either, again, you can do 2 options, either keep the team the same, which we don't recommend, but I know some would rather do that. So that's in there, so you can keep the team the same. So player 1, 2, and 3 will always be team 1 in effect. Yeah, that will always stay the same. Sometimes, depending on the numbers, they'll have to rotate around, or completely random. So your 1 to 11 will be 1, 2, 3, one game, 1, 4, 9, another game, and so on. So they'll all swap around, and it'll work that out for you to be equal. So every player gets like maximum game time, and every player gets the different formats. And if there's different formats that needed to be done, so it might you end up with 3 3v3s and a 2v1, right? But the one won't be the same one, every game. So it'll rotate everyone around. And you can then also put in how long a game do you want to play. So you might say, we want to do 6 6-minute games, or 4 8-minute games, or 5, whatever you want, 10-minute games, whatever you want to do. It'll let you put the permutations in, and then it'll work out for you. That you can either have on your phone, just on our website, or you can print it off, and then you've got a sheet. But I know, again, coaches, you'll go, I've got 10 players today, tomorrow for my game. You plan it all out, all your sheet of paper, you plan it out, you'll get to the pitch, and little Johnny's phoned in sick. And then you're like, what do we do now? So this is just a quick app. It's an app just on our web. Might make it into an app, but we never know. Where you just put the numbers in, and literally within seconds, it works it all out for you. So just to take that extra stress off a coach of trying, when you try to do the right thing of making sure kids are playing the right formats and blah, 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 then this will just do it for you. So that's out there. Obviously, we've got books and stuff out there already of like different games that you can play. Now, the FA rules are just one version of 3v3, and that they want to keep it the same. Again, if it was up to me, I'd have a variety of different rules, where one week, you'd have 2 goals at one end. Another week, you'd have a maybe ball league style, where you'd have some different game changes or something. So I want to keep it exciting for the players, but no, it's just a one game, dead simple. That's going to be the way it's going to be for everyone. We're going to have some seminars, more online stuff like this, where you can be more involved though next time. We'll also do some coaches CPD actual events where you can physically come, look and work with some of our coaches. So we've got A-licensed coaches on our team already, experts in 3v3. Lucky enough to have Pete Sturgis as the 3v3 UK ambassador. He's done stuff for us before, going to definitely do some stuff for us again. Got some of the best coaches I've ever worked with, and looking to do some online and in-person stuff as well. So lots coming up with that. We could have done it now already, but we didn't want to, come up with our version of 3v3 and then the FA have their slightly different version. We wanted to be aligned with what they're doing, what we're doing. So we waited till the rules were confirmed, because it's slightly different to what we play at 3v3 UK. So our under-7s will fall in line with what the FA do, just so then when the kids come to our event and go to the league, when there's not different rules. All the other age groups, for now anyway, we're going to keep to our own rules on what we do. But for under-7s, we're going to say 100% aligned, so it's the same, so kids don't have any confusion, at different events. Done that. Boom, the big one. So we said before, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. So we're going to sponsor as many teams and leagues in the country as we possibly can. And by doing that, obviously there's a couple of caveats. Yeah. the Football Foundation is fully expected to give out grants of up to 75% for goals. That's what we think is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, this offer won't be valid, and we'll come up with something else. Okay. If they do that offer of 75% of goals, if you buy Bazooka goals, we will donate that over 25% to your club or your team or your league. Okay. So if you want to get goals for free, one, you've got to be a grassroots club, meet the criteria for the Football Foundation grant, which they're not 100% set out yet. But again, just going off existing grants, how they do it, it's all on their website. You can see that. But yeah, you've got to be a grassroots, not-for-profit club. Obviously, you've got to have teams, yeah, at that age group. You can't go, oh, let's get some free Bazooka goals for our under-12s. Yeah, that won't happen. Under-7s only. Grassroots club based in England. This is an England-only offer then at the moment. What was the other thing the Football Foundation do? Yeah, I think that was the main three. There's a few other caveats, I reckon, in there regarding past grants that you might have had often. But this will be totally different. So I see this. So basically, so if you've got a goalpost grant now off the Football Foundation, you can't get another one within so many years. But I don't think this will fall into that category, being this new 3v3. So we'll see. And once that guidance is put out 100%, we'll confirm our offer. But the offer then now, yeah, if you want 3 goals for your under-7s, so this big cost that's going to be involved for clubs and leagues, wipe it out. And that might mean 2 goals, it might mean 10 goals, it might mean 20 goals. We will sponsor that difference of Bazooka goals. So that's us, putting our commitment back. Hopefully, people see that. And also then, obviously, from that, we'd either want maybe something on the shirt. If your leagues and you've not done if your club, you've not done the kits yet. There'll be other sponsorship packages we'll do, and we'll sponsor full kits as well. But this is just a general across the board. Yeah, something on the sleeve, something on your website, post on social media, the usual stuff you'd normally do for someone who sponsored you. Same then with leagues, but then with leagues, then we'd also want to look at doing some free UK events in the season with yourselves using our air pitches. And then this will also have other benefits. Like I say, we'll have some of this stuff we're doing, that I said there about coaching seminars. There'll be stuff that'll be free for everyone. There'll be stuff that'll be free with UK partner clubs, are free only, and there'll be some paid stuff for everyone. So there'll be different levels of partnerships and that we'll offer. But yeah, we want, for someone to say, oh, we can't afford goals for our new under-7 teams, like that, we want to get rid of that as a barrier. So any barriers, hopefully we've answered all the other barriers, but that barrier, yeah, hopefully we can do that by giving away or by sponsoring that difference. If you get a Football Foundation grant. That's it from me. Yeah, I think we've gone on for long enough. We'll clip this up. There'll be snippets of this then. But if someone wants to listen to this for an hour and a half, 10 minutes, and listen to my dulcet tone, then thank you for watching. Like I say, hopefully you've seen in this video, and then you've seen some of our other stuff. You see our passion for 3v3, the benefits it gives our players. At all levels, say we're talking about our youngest players, that golden age when they're a little sponge, and we can give them that lifelong love of football. That's our job now to do that with these new players at this age group. So let's keep talking. Any problems that you might encounter, any other questions, wherever you're watching this video, just comment on it or send us a private message. Send us an email. Go on our website. 3v3.co.uk. All our socials are 3v3 UK. Just find us. We're here to help. There's never a daft question unless you ask it twice. Is something I always say. So yeah, good luck those who are just starting their 3v3 journey. Hope you enjoy it as much as the kids do, and we have that lifelong love of that football. Take care now. Bye.